Happy Turkey Day. We are sizzling hot in the NFL. Let's talk some more pigskin. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back in to another episode for Just a Bet Outside. I am your host, Steven, and we are back, baby. That's right. Just got back from that Vegas family trip. Brought back a sickness, so bear with me. Unfortunately, I feel like I get sick every time I travel, but happy Thanksgiving to everyone. This is our 4th year on the channel, and I just want to say thank you to you guys for allowing me to do this. It's just crazy. Thank you for your support every single day. It's absolutely awesome. But we're on an absolute heater also in the NFL. Last week on the game bets and player props alone, 8-0 on Sunday. Gotta love that. 3 weeks in a row where we have won, finally hitting the stride that we've been waiting for. So we'll go over that in just a little bit. Won almost 6 units in week 12. So that recap coming soon since we didn't get a chance to go over that on Sunday. But quick reminder, the NFL game on Friday, I have not decided yet. We might have its own video, or it might just be lumped in with the week 13 best game bets. Might start out the Friday game, not sure. But anyways, stay tuned. Just, busy week getting back from the trip and Thanksgiving and everything. So I'm also going to try my best to get out the NBA best bets video for the Friday slate as well on Thanksgiving night if I have some time. So let's get into it, though. Enough of that. Dad joke time. Here we go. Why do actors say break a leg? They always want to be in a cast. Yep. In this video, we are going to recap week 12. Like I said, we usually do that Sunday night, but I didn't have a chance to do that because I was out of town. And then we're going to go over trends for just these 3 Turkey Day games. You guys know I love some trends. And then I'll give you my best bets. I got 4 of them for these 3 games, and we'll finish it with the recap. So hit that like button if you haven't already. Also, hit that hype button if you're on mobile. It's somewhere down there in the comments, I believe. Really helps this video get out there. Really helps us grow, so I would appreciate it. Leave a comment if you have any time. And, of course, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Come join this awesome community we have. And right now we're on a nice little heater in the NFL and NBA. Let's keep it rolling. So that's what I got. Let's get it rolling. And that means it's recap time. All right, here is the beautiful recap for week 12. I mean, you can't tell in my excitement because I'm not feeling good right now, but my goodness, this was awesome. I bought the Wi-Fi on the plane so I could watch these games on my phone, had my wife just handle the kids on Sunday. It was awesome. Lions team total over 30.5. What a sweat. They got it done in overtime. They should have hit it in regulation, had a ball go off of Amon-Ra St. Brown's hands for a pick when they're driving in for a touchdown, and things like that. But either way, we got the 1-unit win, under 50.5 Colts and Chiefs. Never really a doubt on that one, actually. Over 47.5 Jags and Cardinals. That was a doubt, actually. I think we needed like a 59-yarder or something crazy from Arizona to tie it at 24, going to overtime, and we cashed it. So got to love that. Now, player props. Michael Wilson got the job done, I think, in the third quarter. Ashton Genty over 15.5 rush attempts, was not very good on the ground, still got the job done. Yoshevich over 3.5 receptions. That was a sweat. That was on the last drive, I think, with like a minute left. Hit the plus money. Kirk Cousins under 207.5 pass yards. Thanks to game script, and they took a big lead. That was a winner because he had a 50-something yard bomb that all of a sudden made it really sweaty. Still ended with 199. Lamar under 27.5 pass attempts. Never a doubt. Another easy 1-unit winner. The anytime touchdowns over there on the right were the only things that didn't hit. Again, for me, these are quarter unit sprinkles. But Travion Henderson was brutal. I think he was tackled on the 1-inch line for a touchdown. That should have hit. The other two just didn't get the job done. Their offenses scored. They just didn't get a touchdown again. Touchdowns are, you need some luck. And then down there also, Monday Night Football. Christian McCaffrey over 42.5 receiving yards. That was a winner. Love that. I was watching this from the sports book at the Cosmopolitan. I was just pulling for the Panthers to make it 10 wins in a row, and they didn't get the job done. They were awful. In fact, both quarterbacks were awful in that game. So there it is for the Week 12 recap. It was a beauty. Again, that's 3 straight winning weeks. Now let's move over to page 2. There's the breakdown. Again, NFL player props are carrying us at almost up 12 units on the season now, 99 and 80, up 13.71 units, and I want some more. So that's what we got for the recap. Now let's talk some trends. All right, as you guys know, we like to go over trends on every Game Bets video every week, but you know what? I'm also going to do it here on just the 3 Turkey Day games. So here we go. Since 2004, favorites on Thanksgiving, 51 and 9 straight up, 40 and 20 ATS. The favorites take care of business on Thanksgiving. Since 1990, favorites of 7 or more points on Thanksgiving, 30 and 5 straight up, 25 and 10 ATS. That would be the Baltimore Ravens here. Road favorites on Thanksgiving, 25 and 1 straight up, 20 and 6 ATS since 04. I mean, that is impressive. Teams on a short rest off overtime when an opponent is not off an overtime game are 26 and 48 straight up, 24, 47, and 3 ATS last 20 years. That would be the Chiefs and the Lions. Not good for them on that trend. Now, from above, when that team that played in overtime like KC and Detroit plays on a Thursday like they are here, 6 and 21 straight up, 5 and 22 ATS. That is brutal. Lamar started 6 career home games in Baltimore with temperatures at 35 degrees or less. The Ravens 6-0 straight up, 6-0 ATS, winning by almost 20 points per game. Now, this is the Packers' first game as an underdog this whole season. Under LaFleur, Green Bay 18-6-1 ATS as an underdog of 3 or more points. He's the only coach with a winning record. He's actually one of the best underdog coaches, if not the best, in the NFL. And the final one, the public has actually crushed it. That's right. They've been struggling last couple years, but on Thanksgiving, they're crushing it. Favorites with 60% or more of tickets are 24 and 10 ATS. The public sides 51% or more of tickets are 36 and 20 ATS. And since 2005, 8 teams have had 75% or more of the spread tickets. They are 8-0 straight up, 8-0 against the spread. So that's what we got for the recap and the trends. Now it's time for the best bets. All right, we head out to Detroit where the Lions host the Green Bay Packers. Lions minus 2.5, total of 48.5. I mean, what is more Thanksgiving than watching the Lions on TV every single morning, every single year? You gotta love it. Now, I talked about the trends already, but one more here: Lions on Thanksgiving, 5-1 straight up as a favorite, 0-15 straight up as an underdog. That is brutal. But again, they used to really suck. So that doesn't really mean much. But big news here: the All NFL, All World center Ragnow that retired from the Lions after last year, now coming out of retirement apparently. So not sure what that means for this game. Again, first game back, but Lions need him. 4 of the 5 starting offensive linemen are questionable. I think most will play, but something to keep an eye on. Terrion Arnold is probable. Free safety Kirby Joseph is out. For the Packers, rookie Matthew Golden, the receiver, questionable. Middle linebacker Quay Walker is questionable. And then cornerback Kayshawn Nixon is also questionable. So that's enough of that. Let's get into it. I got a best bet here. It's a half unit play, but give me Jahmyr Gibbs over 35.5 receiving yards, minus 114 on FanDuel. So I'm not usually a guy who likes to bet receiving props with running backs. We talk about it over and over, unless it's Bijan or Run CMC. Gibbs is starting to kind of become one of those as well, because there seems like there's a big change in this offense lately with the Lions. Dan Campbell took over play calling last 3 weeks. In the last 3 weeks, he has 30, 107, and 45 receiving yards. In that 30 receiving yards game, it was a blowout versus Washington. They ran all over him. I mean, they didn't need to do anything. So in the last 2 weeks alone, he has 16 receptions on 20 targets. This is the number 2 wide receiver for the team. Yes, he is a running back, but he's the number 2 receiver. It's obvious Campbell wanted to get him the ball more, and he's averaging a solid 12.8 yards per reception in the last 5 games, so making some big plays down the field. And now the matchup, Lions against the Packers. They played him in week 1 and were awful offensively, but they still threw it to Gibbs. 10 receptions on 10 targets. He did just have 31 receiving yards. Again, that game was all around awful for them. And the Packers defense obviously still good, but Packers are ranked 11th in receiving yards allowed to wide running backs, so it's not like there's some elite defense. We've just seen some running backs lately go over their receiving yards. Tyrone Tracy had 51 receiving yards. Saquon had 41 receiving yards, and both of those guys had a receiving yards line of like 15 and a half. So obviously Gibbs is better than them in the passing game. This Packers defense also been a top 5 run defense all season long. So again, if they're going to struggle to run the ball against the Packers, like most teams do, they're going to have to throw the ball. They still want to get the ball in Gibbs' hands. I think he could easily break one here and just go over it in one catch. But with his his targets, volume, and everything else, I like this one. So give me Jahmyr over 35.5 receiving yards as my first best bet. All right, before we get to that next game, it is time for the KALSHI trade of the day. That's right. If you guys are not on this website, you are missing out. You can buy and sell contracts, kind of like stocks, but it's on all world events. I mean, we're talking politics, economics, sports, weather. If you want to bet the highest temperature in a day, movies, music, video games, anything you want, you can bet on it, and it is awesome. So we're going to do a little KALSHI trade of the day just to kind of show you. We're going to go to the Green Bay-Detroit game, the game we just got done talking about. And by the way, they're adding some player props on here for this or for these KALSHI sports games as well. But here we're just going to go the spread. So if you scroll down a little bit, you can bet a team on the money line, how much it is per contract. But you also have spread and total right here. So you got Detroit minus 2.5, and it's 55 cents a contract. And real quick, before we bet that, also, you can scroll down a little bit longer or a little bit more, and you can see touchdowns. You trade that, change that to receiving yards, whatever it is you want to do. There's some player props on here, and it's absolutely awesome to see. So just want to point that out. But our call sheet trade today is that Detroit minus 2.5, 55 cents a contract. I'm just going to throw, $5 on it. We're going to have a nice little winner here. But that's, again, Detroit, if you just want a little quick breakdown, we talk about it in the bets recap here in this video, but they're going to get their revenge. These games mean a lot for Dan Campbell. They don't lose twice to the same team very often. Thanksgiving games mean a lot to them. You saw in the trends earlier, 5-1 on Thanksgiving when they are a favorite. I just think they get the job done. Green Bay's offense is just hard to trust, to be honest with you. So, anyways, that's what I got for my call sheet trade of the day. That link is below in the description if you want to join, and you get a $20 bonus credit as well. So that's what we got. Now back to the video. All right, before we get to the second one, I will mention a few leans on the bets recap page also about, sides and totals and things like that. I haven't really placed many bets there yet. But this one takes us out to Dallas, where the Cowboys host the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs minus 3.5, total is 52.5. Again, we talked to trends already. Both teams coming down off a win. Cowboys had a great second half comeback over the Philadelphia Eagles. Injury report, both pretty healthy. Chiefs right guard Trey Smith is out. Nickel corner Roland Wallace is out. Cowboys pretty healthy as well. Left tackle Tyler Guyton is out though, and then Kalen Carson, their corner, is questionable. So let's get a best bet. Now I thought about Patrick Mahomes here over receiving yards, but it went up a lot, like from 260 to mid 270s, almost 280. I'm gonna go with his number one receiver. Give me Rashee Rice over 75.5 receiving yards, minus 114 on FanDuel. This is a 1-unit play for me here. Chalky, I know, but let's talk Rice this year. Only played 5 games. He's over in 3 of those 5. 93, 80, and 141 in those 3 overs. This is a potential ladder spot. He has 9+ targets in 4 of his last 5, averaging 12 yards per reception. Big yards after catch guy, averaging 51.8 yards after catch per game this season. A huge 108 yards after catch last week. He's their main guy. He's going to get peppered with targets, and now he's facing the Cowboys. First of all, the Cowboys play a ton of zone defense. That's what they're known for. Rashee Rice absolutely crushes zone defense. You'd love to see that. They're also ranked 29th in receiving yards allowed to wide receivers. Some receivers lately versus Dallas: Devontae Smith, 89 receiving yards. A.J. Brown, 110 in that game also. Michael Wilson, 61. Trey Tucker, who's obviously not great, 47. Marvin Harrison, 96. So Cowboys improved defensively, but we've talked about it before. It's their run defense that has improved. Quinnen Williams, one of the best run stoppers in all of football as an interior defensive lineman. He has really stepped up for them. Their healthy linebacker core has really helped as well. This leads to more running or more throwing of the ball, and the Chiefs suck running the ball anyways, let's be honest. Last 2 running backs, though, against the Cowboys, Saquon 10 carries for 22. Genty had 7 carries for 7 yards on 6 carries. So again, that's telling you, you know what, these teams aren't running against the Cowboys right now. It's just not happening. So that's going to obviously lead to more passing. And you know what, Mahomes and this Chiefs offense, they love to pass anyways. The total is high for a reason. I think we could possibly see a shootout in Dallas. A lot of passing yards. Give me Rice and Beans over 75.5 receiving yards as my second best bet. All right, this third one takes us out to Baltimore, Maryland, where the Ravens host the Cincinnati Bengals. Ravens minus 7. Total in this one is 51.5. Now, preview: Bengals coming in on a nice 4-game losing streak. Ravens coming in on the opposite 5-game winning streak. Big news here: Mr. Joe Burrow is back. That's right. Are we going to get midseason Joe Burrow? Are we going to get Joe Burrow that takes about 3 weeks to really start to heat up? We will find out. But the injury report: Bengals stud wide receiver T. Higgins is out. Jamar Chase will be back, though, after Spitgate and the 1-game suspension. But the best and only good defensive player they have is out still, DN Trey Hendrickson. And the Ravens coming in healthy in this game. Kyle Hamilton had a scare last week, but he's good to go. So you love to see that from the Ravens. Now, I have 2 best bets in this game. First one's going to be a 1-unit play, and they're going to be 2 guys you just saw last week that we cashed on. The first one, Andre Yoshevich, over 33.5 receiving yards, minus 111 on DraftKings. It's a 1-unit play. So if you didn't watch last week, we cashed on his over 3.5 receptions at plus money in the very end of the game. But now I'm going to do the receiving yards. So last time we bet on him last week was because Jamar Chase was out. He was the clear number 2. Now this week, a little different. Now T. Higgins is out, which means he is the number 2 receiver again. This time, the number 1 wide receiver is going to get a lot more attention, in my opinion, because, well, it's Jamar Chase, and he's the absolute man. But like I mentioned last week, Yoshevich was a decent part of this offense when both Higgins and Chase were even playing. He still had 4+ targets in 5 of the last 6, averaging 13.1 yards per reception. So without Higgins, Obviously becomes the number 2 wide receiver for this team again. Last week without Chase, he got those 4 receptions on 7 targets, finished with 61 receiving yards versus the Patriots. Now has 49 plus receiving yards in 3 of his last 5 games. This is a potential ladder spot here. Facing the Ravens, defense obviously improving. I've talked about it over and over. The Ravens and Eagles are going to have a good second half of the year defensively, and it's come to fruition. But you've seen some non-number 1 wide receivers also do well against them. 42 yards to Adonai Mitchell. 65 to John Mechie. How about that? 52 to Cedric Tillman, 35 to Jordan Addison, and 124 to Jalen Naylor. But the last number, they have shut down the last 2 number 1 wide receivers. Again, I don't think they're going to shut down Chase, just pointing it out. Held Judy to 21 receiving yards, Justin Jefferson to 37 receiving yards. So, of course, you got Joe Burrow is back. That's a big news on this one. Obvious upgrade at quarterback. And if he is on his game, then I mean, this is could be a big time ladder spot because we're talking one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL and the number 2 wide receiver for the Bengals, only at a line at this low. Especially when you look at the game script, I think we're all expecting the Bengals to be down and having to throw the ball to catch up. So give me Yoshi over 33.5 receiving yards as my first best bet in this game. Now the second one, I'm going to go half unit because I just, again, you could go a unit on this one. 2 1 unit plays in this doesn't sound right, but if you know, you know. Lamar Jackson under 28.5 pass attempts. Again, that's under. My voice is cutting in and out, trying to fight this sickness right now. But it's a half unit play for me here. We're going to go back to the well. We cashed it easy last week at 27.5. You see it on 28.5 or 27.5 on the books. I also like 27.5. But full transparency, I was so close to taking Lamar's under 267.5 pass plus rushing yards. So that's also an option. He hasn't got anywhere near that line in the last 5 games. Ultimately, I'm going to go with this one because, well, it's against the Bengals, and they're terrible defensively. But Lamar this year, as you can see by this outlier screenshot, he's under this pass attempts line in 6 of 8 games. The most pass attempts he's had all year is 29. That is insane. That is a very low ceiling. Something's wrong with Lamar. I think we all kind of see it. They don't want to have him passing a ton or running the ball much. Henry's rush attempts line is set at 18.5 for a reason. I think they expect a ton of carries again from him. And the matchup, Bengals absolutely horrendous. We know that they can't stop anyone, which could be good in the ground game because if Derrick Henry has one of those really good rushing games, Lamar Jackson won't get anywhere near this pass attempts line because why would they pass it when they can just keep pounding the rock? Since he ranked 20th in pass attempts allowed to quarterbacks. And then game script. Just like last week, we talked about the Ravens should be playing from ahead or with the lead against the Jets, which actually it kind of took longer than I anticipated. They should be playing with the lead yet again here, not need to throw much in the fourth quarter. Only worry is maybe Joe Burrow comes back and he is on absolute fire, turns into a shootout. But again, they've had a shootout before, 38-30 against the Lions. Lamar still had just 30 or 27 pass attempts. So on a short week, a hobbled Lamar. I don't think they want him sitting back there in the pocket too much. I think we're going to see a lot of Derrick Henry, maybe a little Keaton Mitchell as a little under the radar over rush yards as well. But good game script. I got to go back to the well. It just keeps cashing this year. Give me Lamar under 28.5 pass attempts. That is my fourth and final best bet on Thanksgiving. Again, any added plays will be in the pinned comments below. But before we get out of here, let's check out that recap. All right, there it is. My Thanksgiving Day best bets. Jahmyr Gibbs over 35.5 receiving yards for a half unit. Rashee Rice over 75.5 receiving yards for a unit. Yoshi over 33.5 receiving yards for a unit. And Lamar under 28.5 pass attempts for a half unit. And then real quick, you see right there, these are not official bets or side total leans. I like the Lions minus 2.5. I think they get the job done. Again, they lost to Green Bay. Dan Campbell, revenge, all that kind of stuff. I think they get the job done. KC minus 3.5. Tough spot, but I still think they're just the far better team. I think Cowboys to come down to earth at least a little bit here. And then my final lean on the cider total is the under 52 in the Bengals and the Ravens game. I think the Ravens slow it down, run the ball, and we see a little bit lower scoring game. But that's what I got for my best bets for Thanksgiving Day. Again, hope you and your family have a great Thanksgiving. Always appreciate the support. If you're still watching at the end of the video, first of all, thank you. And second of all, leave a comment below. What's your favorite Thanksgiving food? You gotta give me something good. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. As always, hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll talk to you soon.